Zen is not all that complicated. It can be boiled down to any one of a number of simple ideas, each of which is a doorway into all of Zen. One such doorway that we've mentioned already in the training, perhaps without calling enough attention to it, is that your real self is not a personal possession. Your whole life, yourself, has been your personal possession. This seems to be baked into the definition of self. We assume that this is the default norm, that the phenomenal experience of being alive has a me at the center of it. But once you remove the aspect of personal possession, a moment of self becomes indistinguishable from a moment of world. Once you stop making it a personal possession, a moment of self is simply a moment of the myriad dharmas. Let's say it's a summer evening. You live in an old farmhouse, and out in the back, down past a big oak tree, there's a split rail fence where the yard ends and the field begins. The nearest neighbor is a half-mile away, so it's quiet down there at night. You like to wander down and lean on this fence after it gets dark and watch the moon come up. This moment of you is a moment of world. There's the rough fence rail beneath your elbows, the wind across your forearms. A dog somewhere far away is barking. The bark of a dog and the light of the moon and the wind across your forearms and the farmhouse behind you are all arriving at and as this moment of you. You are the intersection where world is taking place. This phenomenal moment can be experienced in two ways, as self or as world. In Zen, these are interchangeable. Since you are arising dependently, each moment of you is literally a moment of world. So you can identify as self, the focal point, or you can identify as what is arising, world. You can experience your being as all the myriad dharmas. In the first way of experiencing it, all the different dharmas of moonlight and fence rail, parents, childhood, night air, dog barking, empty farmhouse behind you, and so on, are arising into and subsumed into a single phenomenal moment of self, of you leaning on the fence rail. As Zen Master Dogen puts it, the self is illuminated, and the myriad dharmas are all in the dark. This way of experiencing the phenomenal moment is called Jikko, self. In the other way of experiencing this moment, there is moonlight, fence rail, parents, childhood, night air, dog barking, darkened farmhouse, all arising. But the you at the center of this is in the dark. Your being resides in the myriad dharmas all arising, the myriad dharmas that are all advancing into this moment of you. This way of experiencing the phenomenal moment is called Banpo, all things. You don't need to illuminate the self. It's already there, in Banpo, in all things. All of your life, you have believed that you can separate Jikko from Banpo. You have believed that the self, the tank commander you, stands outside of the myriad dharmas, parents, moonlight, and wind, and exists separately from them. You have seen yourself as existing separately from moonlight and wind and parents, as if one could surgically remove these things from this moment and still have the same self. But the truth is this: your actual self is arising each moment, as each moment, from all these things and all the other myriad dharmas, oxygen, sunlight, rotation of the planets, your culture, your education, all your friends, and so on. So the myriad dharmas all arrive as this moment of self, and this moment of self is woven from all the myriad dharmas. The self cannot be extracted from the myriad dharmas. But this is not the software we've been running all our lives. We have experienced ourselves as isolated selves, advancing through all these dharmas. We have been sure that the self we are experiencing is a personal possession. It is our self, my self. And it is this interpretation, that our self is a personal possession, that keeps us from stepping into the real self that is going on, which is both Jikko and Banpo. You are both this moment of self, and everything that is arising into this moment of self.